In this video, I want to give you a prompt engineering technique called few-shot learning, which helps you in cases where the artificial intelligence doesn't have enough information already about what you are doing. And you might wonder, like, how can that be? It seems like it knows everything. Well, there are two very broad cases where it doesn't know anything actually. So the way ChatGPT learns, or any artificial intelligence learns, is that it's given data to learn from. And ChatGPT data that it's given has historically trailed the current moment by a year or two or three. So, for example, if something happens today, like literally today, some kind of a new person gets famous or some new singer becomes famous, ChatGPT will not know anything about it. Or if some technology or business starts today or becomes popular today, ChatGPT just won't know anything and it will be confused. Also, ChatGPT doesn't know anything about what's going on internally at your company. So if you have some internal project, you have to teach ChatGPT about some details of it so it can give you relevant help. In those cases, this is when this technique of few-shot learning is really helpful, because you're going to give it a few shots, like the definition states, and these few shots are going to be example to help it learn. So here's the definition. Let's read it together. It's a technique of providing the language model with a small number of examples, usually a few examples to a dozen examples, within the prompt to help it understand the task and generate more accurate and relevant responses. This method leverages the examples to guide the model in performing the task correctly, even if the task is novel or complex. So in other words, in your prompt, so you might ask it, do XYZ, whatever the prompt is initially, and then you would just give it examples. Here's the first output example, and you would write what that might be. Here's the second example, you might write what that might be, and third example, and so on. So it's not rocket science. You just basically add additional sentences with examples so that it can see what kind of output you're looking for. And that's going to ensure that you're going to get the kinds of responses that you're desiring, because you're kind of teaching along which lines the artificial intelligence should work. So that's few-shot learning. If you're frustrated, like, hey, why doesn't ChatGPT know anything about the modern world? Or why doesn't it know anything about internally what we're doing? Well, you can teach it actually with this technique.